Okay, so we're going to try something new today. This is called Sports Corner. We're going to try and do this on a regular basis. This is the first edition. Basically what I'm going to do is work out any foot and ankle injuries that happen to professional sportsmen or sportswomen, and we're going to go through them in a short video every now and again. So the stuff I'm going to include in this talk, the important things to note is that these are my opinions. I'm a qualified orthopedic surgeon, but I have not reviewed these players and I have no relationship with the teams they're involved in. All the information that I'm commenting on here is from info that's been provided by news services. Okay, so I haven't assessed these players, and really that is the best way to do it. So I'm going off information that I find on websites and the news media. Now, the opinions that I'm giving here are designed to educate you guys on the injury itself and the recovery, so for those that have an interest in this sort of thing. But if you believe you're suffering from something similar, I urge you to see your doctor. The information here is not designed for you to work out how to treat yourself, and it doesn't substitute for a medical assessment. So, knowing that, first one I'm going to go through is an injury from NRL Round 3. It happened to Knights player Connor Watson. Given we're from the Hunter, we're very interested in injuries to our local sporting teams. And he had a syndesmosis injury to his right ankle going in for a tackle here playing the Panthers last weekend. And you can see there, we're going to go through the mechanism, but he essentially had what's called an external rotation injury to his ankle. Now, for me to explain what a syndesmosis injury is, I need to draw an ankle. So this is my drawing of an ankle. And the area we're talking about in terms of the syndesmosis is the stuff in red there. Now, where the arrow is pointing is the tibia, which is your shin bone, your big bone. It takes about 7/8 of your weight. Then we're going to point here to the fibula, which is your little bone on the outside of your leg. It takes about 1/8 of your weight. We're now going to mark out the bottom bone here, which is your heel bone. It's otherwise known as the calcaneus. And then the syndesmosis itself are those ligaments there in red. The ligaments further down and the green ones, they're commonly more involved in what's called a low ankle sprain or a common ankle sprain. Now this is a photo of the injury. We're going to mark it here, the position. Look at the position that his foot's in. It's pushed out. So in other words, externally rotated. It's caught in the turf, and that's what's caused his injury. That's the way, that's typical of the mechanism for a syndesmotic injury. So in a syndesmotic injury, this is another picture of it here. The foot goes outwards. Commonly when you sprain your ankle, the foot rolls in. But so a syndesmotic injury is associated with what's called an external rotation injury. The foot rolls out, and it's otherwise known as a high ankle sprain. So it's a form of ankle sprain, but it's a more uncommon form, more commonly found in collision sports. Now, the way it differs to a low ankle sprain, this is the position the foot would be in the common ankle sprain that we all know about. That happens with an inversion injury. The foot rolls in. Okay, that's not how you get a syndesmotic injury. Now, kind of likely during assessment would have had pain in that red area there. That's the area over the syndesmosis. So if someone pressed there, that'd be where the pain is, or over the back part of his ankle there on the outer aspect. The green on the first photo is where you'd be typically tender with a normal ankle sprain. So this would be different. The guys on the field would have assessed him that way. Now, he would then have gone, I imagine, for a plain X-ray, looking to make sure he didn't have any fractures, and then he would have gone for an MRI. And I'm going to explain a little bit. These arrows on the MRI here will give you more of an idea what that means shortly. So the MRI would have been used to grade the injury. It would have confirmed that he had a syndesmotic injury. Then it would have helped them work out how bad it was. So in order to work this out, we're going to draw this ankle again. And remember, the syndesmosis is the area I'm marking in red here with a circle. And then we're going to pretend that we're looking at his foot from the bottom, and we're just looking at the tibia and the fibula, so small and the big bone. And what the syndesmosis actually looks like is it's got 3 parts: a part at the front, a part in the middle, and a part at the back. The part at the front, medical name is called AITFL. The part in the middle, the ligament is called the IOL, and the ligament at the back is called the PITFL. Now, how many of these ligaments you injure plays a part in what grade your injury is and how bad it is. So we're going to go through that right now quickly. So if you just injure the one at the front called the AITFL, that's a grade 1 injury. Still worse than having a normal ankle sprain, but you tend to not need surgery for it, right? And from studies that's been done to professional soccer players, it usually takes a minimum of 5 weeks to get back. Daly Cherry Evans had something like that last year before Origin. Now, a grade 2 injury means you go through the front and the middle, so through the AITFL and through the IOL, but the ligament at the back, called in green there, called the PITFL, will be intact. These injuries can be unstable, but we can't always just tell off the MRI, so they need surgery. They need to have an ankle arthroscopy, so a little keyhole camera put in the ankle to work out if the area is stable or not. And then a grade 3 injury is far worse, where you go through all 3, and they also need surgery. They need an ankle arthroscopy, to look and see how stable it is. They're almost invariably going to be unstable when we get them into arthroscopy, and they will then usually need some more further surgery, meaning that the ankle's got to be stabilised. Now, what we know is that from the news media is that it sounds like Connor's injury was planned to be stabilised in surgery. So that means that he probably didn't have a grade 1. He probably had either a grade 2 or a grade 3 injury here. All right, and so what would have happened is would have been taken into the operating theatre. 2 little cuts would have been made, roughly what's on the picture there in red, and then a little probe would have been placed in that area where the area of the syndesmosis is. And if the surgeon could get the probe in there, then he would have needed this type of fixation, which is called a tightrope. So these things placed across the ankle, or some screws would have been placed across the ankle. Now, in terms of return to play, well, some NRL players have made it back within 6 to 8 weeks, but in terms of the literature for professional sportsmen, the average is about actually 103 days, and that's in professional soccer players and a couple other injuries. So, and it'll be longer if you've had a cartilage injury or a player over the age of 25, or you've got a grade 3 injury, so a worse injury. So watch this space. We'll see how quickly he makes it back. We don't know what type of grade of injury he had, but if you want to know more about syndesmotic injuries, we've got another video on that on our website here, www.hunterfootandankle.com.au, and hopefully we'll see you again. Thanks.